Hello everyone and welcome to my 10 questions with video series where I interview virtual assistants about their business. So question one, who are you? Tell me about your business.
Hi, Tron. Thank you for inviting me to be on your interview. So I'm Jennifer Chamberlin. I'm based in France. I'm an online business consultant and the founder of My Bilingual VA.
Marvelous. Do you have any children? Do you run your business around children, around family life?
Yes, so I'm married and I have two children. They're 16 and 17. So fun and games with teenagers now.
Right, so a little bit older. And question two, what did you do before you became a virtual assistant?
So I worked in and around Paris as a personal and then an executive assistant in different companies, learning the work and the job of a secretary and a PA.
Right, so how did it come about? Like what happened for you to decide to set up your own business?
So I've been in working in different companies, and then the final employed position I had was as an executive assistant, just 10 minutes down the road. And after about a year, they reorganized the admin team and made me redundant. So that really gave me a kick to think about working differently. I couldn't face the idea of commuting back into Paris, being away from 7 till 7, not seeing my kids. So I'd always been an EA who got out there and networked, meeting other people. And so I was in a lot of EA groups and networking to learn more about our industry. And I heard people talking about VA and thought, what's that? I'd like to know more. And I came at it from a very corporate background of, you're in the office with the person, you're there from 9 till 5 every day of the week, and I know it doesn't resume itself to making photocopies and making coffees, but it's those kind of in-person on-site jobs that just can't be done virtually. So yeah, it's been a real journey over the last 8 years. And I've learned a massive amount.
And question three, this is, what was your biggest fear about setting up your own business?
Um, well, really, the whole becoming self-employed. Like I always say, I knew how to be an EA, I knew how to assist my managers, my clients, etc. But the whole idea of running a business and being responsible for everything, and the buck stopping with me, that was the biggest thing for me.
And how did you overcome that? Just by doing it, or did you have any sort of techniques or things that you did?
Um, so yeah, I mean, I learn again networking, being in groups, picking up advice from other people, and then obviously supporting others when they ask questions. I did, yeah. I also looked at some coaching. So yeah.
That's good. It's good. I think sometimes people they kind of don't realize at the time potentially that they can do something about it. It's like, oh, so here's something that's daunting me. So what can I do about that? Can I speak to someone? Can I, go on a course? Can I get some training, coaching, or can I, um, yeah, just read some books? Or how do I overcome this thing that I feel like is a challenge?
And you're right about like mentioning books is a really like I've still got books by sort of Carrie Green, Marie Forleo. They're on my desk. Like that's literally they're my go-to Bibles. So yeah, reading's been a big help as well.
Yeah, I've got like a whole shelf
Yeah.
back there of books. I mean, I just think people sometimes say, "Oh, what sort of business books can I read?" And I'm like, "Oh, you don't. It's just they're not always about business. Often they're just about life or psychology. Particularly, I find very, very useful for my business. Why people do what they do, psychology of pricing. The for me the oh, what's he called? Hold on. Tim Ferriss has got he's got Tools of Titans and Tribe of Mentors. And the Tribe of Mentors, my God, I mean, look, you can see how this massive book. And it literally is just filled from beginning to end with it's like this. He's asked people questions, really successful people as well. And you could read the whole thing and go back to the beginning and you wouldn't remember,
Yeah.
or they apply at different points in your life. I think if you're going to buy any business book, it's that one. I'm like, it's genius stuff. So Question four, how has your life changed since you set up your virtual assistant business?
So I feel incredibly blessed. I've had the opportunity to do things that, I'm not sure I would have ever been able to if I'd been employed. So I've been traveling more. I've been to continue my personal development journey. So on Friday, just last week, I was at a mastermind in Windsor. And then having the opportunity with clients just to work with so many diverse clients and do so many different things. And then also the opportunity to, grow a team. When I started, I was a bilingual VA offering services in French and English, but I always knew that I wanted it to be more than that. Um, so when I had the opportunities, I found associates who could work in German, Spanish, and Italian as well. So now we offer all five languages and a very wide variety of services. That actually came out of all the experience that I had because I'd been incredibly lucky in my employed roles to do a lot of different things. In my final role, I was, the EA of the small company, small industrial company. And so I was doing things like organizing events, but also, doing the admin, organizing travel, but then also, keeping their website up to date. So I managed to learn a lot of different things, and that's really, really helped grow the business to what it is today.
So how many people do you have in your team now, your agency?
So I have around 10 who invoice me every month, but obviously none of them are full time. I don't employ anybody. They're all so niche that, some just do 5 hours or the odd task, and then others are actually dedicated to specific clients and they're doing, 40, 50 hours a month.
Right. It's interesting because I interviewed Holly Copsey and she also runs a team. And she said the same as you. I always knew I wanted to grow my business. I always sort of knew I wanted a team. And yet myself and many others have gone, I definitely don't want to run a team. I think it's what I love about being your own boss, I guess, is that you get to decide.
Mhm.
So if it's something that appeals to you and you want to be, the owner of a company with a team of people, then you can. But if you want to keep it quite small and just continue with it just being you and maximizing your income by
Yeah.
offering project rates and things like that, you don't necessarily have to take on associates, so you don't have to grow. And likewise, you don't have to stay small. You can grow your business into something else if you
Yeah.
want. I really like that.
Absolutely. But also, I mean, one of my objectives was always to have a legacy business, to always have something that, will last beyond me. And that's why I didn't give it my name, because I don't want it to just be me and my name. So, it's having something that will provide for me even in my retirement, and possibly also, having it be a going concern that, somebody wants to buy on later. That would definitely be an
Amazing.
objective.
Amazing. So, question five, what do you feel is the most rewarding part of running your own business?
It's definitely, it comes down to the freedom again, the ability and the opportunities we have to choose our clients, to choose those we work with. That's the biggest thing. And you learn, at the beginning, you're very open to everything. You just want those clients. You want to say yes to, you want to say everything, yes to everything. And then, you learn through the experiences you have, when things aren't quite right. And it's the same with working with associates as well. There's that saying that says, um, um, hire slow, fire fast. And that really is, you can't always do it. Obviously, if you've got a client who wants something done tomorrow and you don't have someone in your team, then you need to find somebody quick. But most of the time you can take the time to really dig into, people's personalities and look at how how they're working, ask them to do test projects, etc. So definitely freedom.
Wonderful. I know what you mean when people first start out. Of course, I always say, that you should work with people that you want to, that your ideal client. And when people first start out, they're like, I don't know who my ideal client is. And sometimes you do have to work with a few different types of
Yeah.
people. I sometimes recommend even personality types. So, do you like organized people? Do you like really kind of creative people, working with those, they drive me mad. But I know that, in the All Stars, for example, we have the many VAs that work with neurodiverse clients, clients with ADHD, and because potentially the VA also has, this themselves, they understand them, and they are the perfect person to help. They love it. I'm like, oh, definitely not, so even if you can at the very beginning narrow it down to really organized but very busy people, or do you want to be involved in somebody's business like day to day, or do you just want to be given a project to get on with it and hand it back?
Yeah,
So many different types
absolutely.
of VA.
Knowing those things are really useful. I mean, when I started, I was very sort of putting everything out there and willing to do anything. And then I remember when I was actually fortunate to have a client who was local to me, so I got to go to her house and meet her there. And I remember walking out of meeting with her, and just I literally had a smile from ear to ear. She was German, she spoke three languages, she was just, the epitome of a multilingual entrepreneur and an amazing woman, just so accomplished. And I was like, that's my ideal client. I knew from then. So I've got that ideal client, but then also I think we we also can niche in terms of who we work with, not necessarily what the services we offer. So you don't have to only do social media, for example, and so many VAs don't want to do anything to do with social media. There's so many other things you can do. So my niche isn't what I do or what the team and I do, but it's who we work with. And we're very focused on the multilingual entrepreneurs. We provide quite a niche service that not many other VAs do. And so it is broadening a little bit in terms of the business consulting that I now want to offer. So I sort of talk about multilingual entrepreneurs, but then I also talk about international entrepreneurs because I want to tap into those, the people in the UK, for example, or the English speaking world who are looking to work outside of those UK or American borders. And that's where I have, my European experience, etc. So that's definitely the niche that I found for myself. But it comes through experience. You don't, I mean, I think it's very, very difficult to say from day one, right, this is my niche. But things like looking at Ikigai and your zone of genius, those kind of questions and things can really help. And we haven't talked about AI yet, but obviously AI can help you process all of that and yeah, get you on the right track.
Exactly. That's part of the DIY course actually at the beginning, is getting AI to like analyze aspects of your CV to kind of like pull things out, because it's hard when you're looking at your own business or yourself. It's really hard, I think, to see yourself objectively. I love that you found your perfect client, because also the opposite is true. You can often go, this is my not my perfect client, but my worst type of client. Like, this is the person I would never want to work with, this type of person. And you can look out for red flags. So it's equally, I think, knowing what you're looking for, but also who's definitely not going to be a good fit
Yeah, yeah,
for you.
absolutely.
New VAs, I think, are very much, they want to be picked. They're like, oh, I hope I get hired by this person. And I'm like, no, you're going in there looking to see whether you would like to work with this person. If you're going to take them on, once you have that mindset and you flip it around in your head that you're interviewing them and seeing if there's somebody that you would like to work with, I think that can make quite a big difference to your business going forward.
Absolutely. But it definitely goes back to what we were saying earlier about if you've had employed experience before, then it can be hard to shift to the mindset of, I'm the business owner, I get to call the shots here. So yeah.
Yeah, I think it's both exciting but also really quite scary when you realize that you're just like, oh, like it takes a while, but it's hard to get your head around, I think, especially at the beginning. So, with question 6, on the flip side of the last question, what is the most challenging aspect of running a business, do you think?
Um, I think it's, keeping all the plates spinning, keeping everything going, keeping track of, multiple clients, multiple demands. Um, and yeah, and then also managing to look after yourself as well. So I went through burnout in 2023. So having come back from that, I'm much more conscious of, I have to get out for a walk, or I have to do some Pilates, or yeah, that I have to look after myself, because I can't, it's true what they say, you can't pour from an empty jug.
Yes, that saying as well about putting your own oxygen mask on before helping others. I think the challenge with that also, especially for me, is that I like what I do.
Mm.
So I sometimes really go at it. I actually think that I probably worked solidly for about 2 weeks. I've been learning about Reels and Instagram and using Canva to do all sorts of amazing video things, which I hadn't really used it that way before. And I love it. I couldn't wait to get up in the morning and just like my mind is whirring with ideas. And I think that when you have something like that, when you especially when you first start out, I think you can really run at it and then burn out quite quickly because you needed to pace yourself. But you're so excited about aspects of running your business, especially when you discover something new. You get to learn so much when you work for yourself, and there's a danger to that, I think, where you could literally just sit there all night, sometimes learning a new thing. It was only last night where, so the last couple of weeks, I have literally like woken up at 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, and I'm up straight at my laptop, and I take my dog out then about 9. It was only this morning when it was about 7:30. And I thought you needed that sleep. Like your body was like, really, really, Joe, just chill out with the Canva reels. Getting all excited about it.
But
Yeah.
when you
Um,
get passionate about something, it doesn't, it doesn't feel like work. So
yes. And I have to say, I don't know if the word is burnout, but I'm going to use the word burnout. I probably burnt out a few times over the years. I've been running my business since 2009. So what's that like? I don't know, nearly coming up for 16 years. And I would say every few years, I not burn out, but I come to a point where things need to change again,
yeah,
where I have maybe an unhealthy relationship with my business, or the time that I'm putting into it or not putting into it. And it's you never really find the perfect balance of work.
yeah,
I was speaking to another business owner, and they were saying that because they also like to do what I do, which is really solidly get into something for a really long period of time, they will do like they take every other day off. So they work, say, 12 hours a day, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and they take off Tuesday and Thursday, and they need that. And I thought that was a great way of doing it, but also what I loved was that it was their choice. That
mm.
you can just create this
Yeah,
business how you
absolutely.
want.
And so one of the things that I have done in the last 6 months is I've actually because I have that experience as an EA, and it's my default mode is I'm on call all the time for my clients within the hours that I say I work. And so I was never finding the time to work on my business or do things to move my business forward. And even though I had been saying for a while I was keeping my Monday mornings and my Friday afternoons for me, it wasn't working, and those boundaries were just too leaky. And so um, a couple of in October last year, I finally took the decision that, right, I'm going to tell everybody that I do not work for clients on Friday. My team will still provide for my clients on a Friday, so my clients aren't missing out. But I need Fridays as my day, and I might go to a mastermind like I did on Friday, or I might take the day off completely and do something fun, or I might do a mix of both of those. But it's been so much better. And one of the things I've noticed, which is really amazing, is that whereas before I would arrive at Friday evening and I would literally be dead. I wouldn't want to do anything. I would just, yeah, just dead, ready to veg in front of the TV and go to bed. That was my Friday night. And by taking that Friday for me now, I found that I start my weekend a lot more relaxed and a lot less stressed. And yes, there are still times where I'm wrapping up loose ends and doing, 5-minute jobs for clients because I haven't got around to them during the week. But that's my choice and I'm in control. Um, and I think that's really helped for me. But I also, while we've been talking, I've been thinking, these things about self-care and stuff, they're all things that we know in our heads. But until you've actually been through those experiences, you don't realize just how vital they are. And that's been quite a big learning for me because I always it's the same with the big issue is mental health, isn't it? And when your mental health is good, it's not a problem, it's not an issue, it's not something you need to think about. And it's only when you have something challenging that happens that suddenly it's a bigger thing and then you need to really take care of it. And I think that's and that's something that I want to talk about and I want to share more to be able to support others and help them going through it.
I found also not just mental health but physical health. So there's been a couple of times where I've actually sort of hurt myself. Um, I now have an adjustable desk, for example, because my chiropractor was like, don't stand up all day, don't sit down all day. Although I do often find myself sitting down most of the day. But also ergonomic equipment and things and getting a better desk. Because at one point, I could barely type. I could literally barely type. I um, couldn't hold my phone properly. I realized my phone was pressing into that part, which is a pressure
Oh,
point.
yeah.
That's apparently how people are restrained, like in they're like oh that's my phone was that size. I changed the size. I got a case so that my phone was slightly different size and didn't push into there. The mouse, and it was not having your hand out all the time and not being supported. I
Yeah.
thought that I had got RSI, but apparently it was here. My chiropractor, when I went for physio, was like, oh, it's actually your neck and shoulder, and that had to be fixed. And that's happened a couple of times over the years because, like you said, when everything's fine you don't really think about it. It's only when you've hurt yourself or
Yeah.
you've come to this crisis point that suddenly you need to change your desk,
Yeah.
suddenly you need to change your chair and your mouse and things.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Absolutely.
Right, question 7. Oh, did we get that? Let's have a one more chanting. Yes, question 7. How do you get your clients, Jennifer?
So a number of different ways. I mean, I've always been a networker, so I've always joined in groups online, and then also in person. One of my favorite groups here in Paris is a group called Anglopreneurs. It's for English-speaking entrepreneurs in Paris and the Île-de-France, and I absolutely love that group. We have coffee morning, networking mornings every month that I try to go to as much as I can. And I love that group. And then also. So I started a Facebook page, so I use that. I've got my LinkedIn profile that I sort of got quite nice and shiny when I started, and then I've edited it as I've gone along. Um, I also have a website, and I've been blogging. I think I've got just under 60 blogs on there now. So yeah, those are the methods that I use, and then word of mouth. The last person I just talked to this morning I think she must have found me on Facebook because that was where she messaged me and I didn't know her before. So yeah, all of those things.
When you do your audit, your business audit, where do you think that most, you like, so you've just mentioned website, you've mentioned LinkedIn, you've mentioned Facebook, referrals, networking. Which of those do you think brings in the most clients?
Um, Probably referrals on my website. Like I've never known anyone to come to me through Instagram. And yeah, I'm on Instagram, but the reason, and Twitter's the same at X, I'm on X, but I've never got clients from it. But I keep those going because social media is one of those things that we offer. And so I need to show what I can do. And even then, I limit the social media. I don't touch reels, I don't touch video. Maybe I will do one day, but for the moment, I'm just keeping it simple. Right.
Yeah, that's fascinating actually, because I found that, with what I do, my Facebook group is obviously amazing,
Yeah.
and it's a big way of being able to speak to people. But I also still have the algorithm. Is it going to show my post to people they can actually see it? The way that comments changed, you can't see all the comments now.
Yeah.
LinkedIn's great, but a lot of my audience are either, I'm looking for people who are aspiring VAs, but also a lot of my audience are established VAs. So I'm unusual in that I have sort of like two avatars, which is frustrating. And then recently taking on Instagram as well because of most virtual assistants are working mums. So I was like, okay, I was sort of missing a trick maybe with Instagram, but I've had to stop. I was also posting on my Facebook page, and I've looked at the analytics of that yesterday and went, I'm going to stop that and focus on Instagram for a little while and
Okay.
nail my, because it's too, you can't, it's just too many hours in a day
Yeah,
to be
absolutely.
spending on posting in all these places. It's really hard. You know, if there's another one comes out, we're screwed, Jennifer. Well, Blue Sky, I suppose. It's like, oh my God, what do we do?
Yeah, no, I haven't. I haven't touched Blue Sky. I haven't touched Threads either.
No.
So,
With question 8, what do you wish you knew when you first started out?
um, I think it would definitely be being careful about who I follow and who I listen to. Um, and finding, that one source of truth and just, going all in on it. Um, yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. And even, is even yeah, even today I have so many things that I'm subscribed to, and I did actually start getting rid of them, sending them to a different folder so that I don't see them all. But yeah, I'm looking forward to working on a new website, on a new domain name, and I'll have a new email on there. And I'm actually really looking forward to not subscribing to everything again.
I have different email addresses actually. I have like a personal Gmail, I have a worky Gmail. So when I sign up for something, say it's just like, when you order something from Amazon or something to do with my dog or Netflix, whatever it might be, something personal, the login, etc., is always the personal one. And then I have another one, which if it's a business thing, so it's newsletters, but they're businessy to do with my business, that goes to a different Gmail, and then and I can like go from my main account and like look at them so it's not all coming in. Because it can, I'm the same. I sign up for quite a lot of newsletters, and then I go through and cull and go, well, actually this person is the one that gives me the best information about this subject. So I'm gonna just keep that person. It's interesting because many of the new virtual assistants and my trainees as well, they've sometimes indicated that they are following different VA trainers and they're reading different advice, and it's making them confused, especially being in, say, the big handbookers group. There's a lot of people in there, they're not always getting the best advice as well. You can't guarantee that they're getting advice from a great VA, or if they're getting one from actually, somebody who isn't the best virtual assistant, or hasn't got the best mindset about that subject. And I think they also get confused because all the different VA coaches are different. We have different approaches, different ways of doing things, etc. And it's finding the one that resonates with you.
Absolutely.
Um, I think too, there can be too like information overload. I
Mhm.
think also many people use it as an excuse. They're like, once I've done all my research, because VAs love research, right? Once I've redone all my research and prepared the ground, then I will take action. And it just doesn't work like that.
No.
You just be waiting forever.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that's one of my learnings effort is definitely that done is better than perfect. Like originally, I would have wanted to do everything perfectly, and then you just, and now my much more it's, get something done, even if it's not 100%, it's fine. Um,
Yeah, that's
and
what I've been
that's
doing
and
with
that's
the
something
Instagram
that's
reels.
it's also helped me when with working with multiple clients. Like I can't necessarily be in all my clients' businesses for hours every day, but if I can just show, that I've moved the needle, that's that's enough um, to keep the clients happy.
Yeah. I mean, it's different. I think when it's a client's business, done is great. Obviously done is great, but it does have to be good. You can't just go, oh,
Yeah.
that'll do. Of course. When it's your own business, there is also a chance to go back. So with the Instagram reels, for example, luckily my account's new because I'd only got like a few up before they changed it to portrait, and I was like, oh, and because I'm still working out the branding and my branding is very pop art, right? It's very
Yeah.
colourful and pop art. And I've always done images that doesn't translate well to video. How do you make a pop art video? How do I manage that with the brand colours, for example,
Mhm.
inside a video? Um, so luckily, there's been a couple that I've done, and I'm actually going to take those back down and re-put them back up. Now I've perfected the branding, but you sometimes need to try things out and
Yeah.
work them out before you go, Aha. So most things are fixable in that way, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely.
59, work-life balance. Do you have a work-life balance?
So yeah, definitely a lot more than I did to begin with. It's more of a blend. So there are times when, work is number one, and that's where my focus is. And then there are other times where family has to come first. So yeah, and then like I've said, looking after myself. So now I try not to work in the evenings. In any case, by 6 o'clock, I'm knackered anyway. There are times that sometimes I'll keep on going, but it's probably because I'm in the middle of something and I need to get it done. Um, and then yeah, not working so much on weekends anymore and things. But again, I think it's having that choice, that it comes back to the freedom of choice. So if I know, for example, if I know that I'm taking a day off, for something, then, I have to make up the time at some point.
Yes, it's been interesting talking to all the different VAs in this series because it's sometimes they're all different. Sometimes I've had one that goes, I work better in the morning,
Mm,
and someone else went, I do
absolutely.
my best work in the evening. I mentioned it to another VA and they were like, really? They do their best work in the evening. They were surprised.
Mm,
Some VAs have said, oh, I worked more this way when my children were younger, but now they've gone to school. It's more, it's changed this way. I sometimes will work on a Sunday, like I said, I don't have any children. But I find if I need to do scheduling, if I go into the Facebook group, I will immediately become distracted by somebody has tagged me. But at the weekend, people aren't really in the group and I can just get on with it.
yeah.
And that flexibility is lovely. I'm actually off from Friday for 2 weeks. So I've got to get everything done before Thursday. But if I need to as well, if I wanted to, I could jump back on. And I know that I will actually still do some work, but it'll be playing with things and trying things out and coming up with
Absolutely.
ideas and
Yeah,
yeah.
but
And
I
also,
mean, that's where knowing ourselves is so, so important. So, really thinking at the beginning, what does my ideal week look like? Where are those moments that I want to be doing deep work that I can concentrate and I can get some work done? Where are those times where I'm going to be better having conversations and connecting and maybe doing networking? They're really, yeah, really important to think about those things and set up your ideal week. I mean, I've still got the ones I did for at the beginning of they're dated December 2017. So that's how long ago I did them.
I've also been very aware of it changing. So I kind of thought I set up my ideal day and my calendar and it has to stay like that. And then when things aren't working, I've sort of stressed myself out. And then I thought, but that calendar's flexible, but it's not always going to work. You should be able to change that at different points in your life and even different seasons. So in the winter now, it's dark in the morning. So in the summer, I take my dog out normally first thing, say 7, and then be at my desk, by 9 definitely. But now, because it's dark, I start working in literally in my dressing gown. I come from straight in. I like the candle, which I love my mornings with the candle. He just crashes out. He's still asleep. I've written an entire newsletter first thing in the morning. And
Wow.
then I'll maybe at 9 o'clock go out with him. And that feels, even now, it feels a bit naughty. Like you're like, oh, I should really be at my desk. This is dreadful of me. Like really naughty. But it isn't. It's like I've done the work. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Um, and then at lunchtime in the summer, I'll take him out again quickly at lunchtime, and then I'll take him out again later in the day. But if it's really hot, we'll go out much later.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
it changes because of, I mean, he's not a kid, but it's like having a responsibility.
Yeah, of course,
And
absolutely. Yeah. And it's brilliant to
yeah,
have that disconnect,
yeah.
that thing that forces you to disconnect.
Yeah, being flexible enough as well to be able to adapt my day around him and the seasons. If I see it's gonna be like a really rainy day, this is actually normally the case when I travel. So before I got here, I traveled a lot working. I just worked anywhere, right? And if I was away, say I was in Italy and I saw that then a particular day was going to be really rainy, then I might choose to work that whole day,
Hmm.
or work half a day and then go to a museum indoors. But if I saw that it was going to be a sunny day, even here, quite rare at the moment, um, then I might work around that instead and work on a on a Sunday because I know that it's going to be really, really lovely on Monday and I just want to go out.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, it's that time of year for me as well at the moment where, it's alternating rain and showers, and so it's almost like as soon as I see the sun come out, I need to jump out and go for a walk. Otherwise, by the when I look up again, it'll be raining and I won't be able to go. So, or I won't want to go. Um,
Exactly. I do that with him. He's at the dog sitters now, but I run out quickly with him. And you can't do that in a job, right? You can't just go, oh, the sun's out. Everyone, I'll be back in a minute. I'm just going to pop round the corner and go for a walk. You can't do that.
Absolutely.
And yet sometimes actually just getting up from your desk and going
Oh,
for a
it's
quick
so
walk
good.
resets you.
Yeah.
When I'm tired, especially, that was a tip I got from an ex-boyfriend when I was working solidly on on an event, a festival, and he's like, every hour or so, literally just go around the block. And I was like, I'm too busy to go around the block. And he said, no, seriously, try it. And it reset me.
Mm,
I could sit back down, and it was like I was fresh again. It was like
yeah.
magic. It was incredible.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, final question, Jennifer. Question 10. What advice would you give to somebody who is considering virtual assistants as a career?
Um, Uh, I would say, like we've talked about, doing your research, but don't get caught into looking everywhere and reading everything. Um, and knowing your why, having a really strong foundation of what you're doing it for and why you want to do it, because it can be a tough journey sometimes. We say it's a roller coaster, and it really is. And I also found as time went on that the highs got higher, but the lows got lower. That's definitely been my experience. So if you don't have a really solid foundation of what your why is, then you just won't stay the course. And then also, having those people to support you. So I know that, for me, my husband's always had my back. And yeah, that's really important.
Wonderful. Thank you very, very much for your time, Jennifer. It's been an
Thank
absolute pleasure.
you. Thank you so much. I've loved talking to you, Joanne.